not so good with the introduction. You've probably been sitting down a bit though, so I'm going to get you to stand up. And I'm going to get you to organise yourselves. We have blokes down this end, the minority group. I want to know just how minority group you are. So we have, this guy's really lonely because he's got any males. There's a few blokes there. And then the rest of you who are non-blokes for the purpose of this event.
Thank you.
You organise yourselves into kind of a height. Because I'm going to teach you something. This is a call and response. I'm going to sing something and you're going to sing it back to me, okay? Amali, Amali, lay mama, Amali, Amali, lay mama, Aleo, 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 lay mama, Okay, pass the audition next. So you're now in the pop-up fire. We're going to try that again. So, Amali, Amali. No. When we did the first time, I said Amali, lay mama. So we're going to do it that way too this time. So I'm going to go Amali and you're going to go lay mama. Amali, lay mama. Amali, lay mama. Aleo, 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 lay mama. Okay, so you won't make the Soweto choir. So we're going to see it. So Amali, lay mama, and then just follow with the next bit. Alright, so then stand up tall, like, let your lungs, put your hands down by your side, don't fold your arms. See if you can just have a channel Nelson Mandela, So Amali, lay mama, Amali, lay mama, Aleo, 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 mama, Aleo. Let's see how these guys are going. So Amali, lay mama. I feel really safe with this. So let's just start again, shall we? Amali, lay mama, Amali, lay mama, Aleo, 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 lay mama, Aleo, lay mama. Oh, give them a round of applause. Together and like if you could really channel Nelson, like really, have any of you seen the new Lion King yet? No. Nobody's got grandchildren. My daughter and my grandson are holding out. I got that via text this morning. Okay, so just try and be warriors. And so, look at all of these people. There's a lot of these women. So you have your voices heard. You might need to, So let's see if we can put this together. Don't feel free to drown them out. That's absolutely allowed. So, Amali, lay mama, Amali, lay mama, Aleo, 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 Aleo. Amali, lay mama, Amali, lay mama, Aleo, 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 lay mama, Aleo. And let's see if we can possibly put some, Amali, move. Le mama. Aleo. 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 Mama. Aleo. Mama. I just want you to find one person you haven't talked to today and tell them all the lessons that you learned by doing that exercise. Just find a person. Okay, just have your attention for a minute. Have you all got a new friend that you haven't spoken to yet? If you haven't got one, put your hand up and we'll find a friend for you. Very good. Has everyone got a friend? That's great. What I'd like you to do now is tell that friend what you heard in the last conversation about what you learned. So what did you hear from the other people you were talking to in that last conversation? And if you would like to say goodbye to your friend, or your friend, and come and sit. And just follow me into that. I think when I was thinking about what to do today, I really wanted to show rather than tell the work I do. And so that's a little insight into some of the things I do. So I'm interested in seeing if you can give some descriptions of the work that I do based on what I just did with you all. So I'm going to ask each table to come up with 2 descriptors. Like if you were writing my job description or you're writing my LinkedIn profile, based on the only interaction you've just seen from what we've just done together, that tiny little snippet of me, what would you write on my job description or on my LinkedIn profile? So can you just have a chat at the table and see if you can come up with 2 different things, and then we'll see what you've got to say.
Sorry.
I'm going to start coming around in a minute, and you're there. You're ready to go? Okay, this table here's got two descriptors for what I'm doing. Who's going to tell us what they are? Have you met everyone here?
Yes. No.
Does everyone?
Yes and no.
Yes and no. So why don't you say your name? And I'm not going to give you the microphone, that's a really important tip. If you're facilitating a consent, never let anyone touch the microphone. Just a rule I have, okay? So if you try and take it away from me, I'm going to be hanging on to it really tightly. And what was your name?
Ben.
Ben's going to tell us two things that should be in my LinkedIn profile.
I really enjoyed being a warrior, by the way. Thank you. I'm glad you didn't give me the microphone. Okay, two things. We saw you as a collaborator and also a conductor.
Excellent, very good. So I will tell you a little bit about my collaboration and conducting. So I am a co-founder of a group called Collab for Good. Oh, fancy that. And there's four of us. We've been setting up a co-working space at Welland in the Healthy Living Precinct. And it's a female-first place. So that's one of the things we do let the warriors in though from time to time. And as a conductor, that's actually the role that I play when I do playback theatre. So playback theatre is improvised theatre, and the conductor is the person who conducts. I do play as well from time to time, but and I haven't done it for a long time. But conducting is a really good descriptor of what I do and how I see my work. I always think that in all my leadership roles, I've had a lot of opportunities. I've been Chief of Staff in government, I've been CEO in a number of organisations, and I think when you're in those leadership roles, you are a conductor. You like making sure that the first violin doesn't, overshadow the entire symphony orchestra, and that everyone's in tune and you're all playing off the same sheet. And in fact, I describe myself often as a conductor. So excellent work, this table. Okay, we're going to go over and see how these guys are going. Who's reporting here? The Zulu Warrior. How are you?
Very well. They're having a laugh because I said that I know a lot of career advisors in this room, for many years, and no disrespect to them, you are now my favourite career advisor because none of these people that I've spoken to have ever told me that I can be a singing warrior. And you did. We talked about your interpersonal skills. We thought that would be high up on your job spec, for sure.
Thank you. So, and maybe getting you to be not what you thought you were as well. So I think that's true. I think definitely in my career, and this is particularly as a social worker, and that's still my absolute fundamental position of who I am in the workforce, is that helping people see something that they perhaps couldn't see themselves and aspiring to a new place and taking them to a new vision and of themselves and doing it in a way that isn't too scary, but it does get you a little bit out of your comfort zone. And I think that I certainly did that. And in terms of interpersonal skills, you practice. I've got a lot of grey hair, so that means I've had a lot of practice at this stuff. You don't get to be good at it by doing it once. It's every day, and it's using the conductor metaphor. You need to do your practice if you're an opera singer or a violin player or whatever it is that you do, if you're a sports person, you actually need to do your drill every day. And that's the same with interpersonal skills. So you don't jump out on the footy field without limbering up and having gone and practice 3 nights a week. And that's the same in the work I do. I don't just turn up. I've had years and years and years of practice, so you do need to do that. So hopefully that's useful. And now we're over to this table. Who's the brave person who's reporting from here? I'm behind you. Anyone brave enough to have a couple of names here? You had 2? You did. So one person can remember and one person saying yes. So I'm going with the yes, and then other people can mime words. So what your name is?
Ruth, what were the 2 words?
Facilitation.
Yeah.
Okay, that's right. Facilitation, yes. Excellent. Sure. That's what I do a lot of, and I'm embedded in an organisation called Collaboration for Impact, so more collaboration, and we are change makers working at scale. So we're working in communities, about 30 communities around Australia, who are in all sorts of challenges. So in places like Bourke, which was the highest murder capital of Australia, and lots of people being incarcerated for all sorts of terrible things that are happening to them. And so my colleagues are embedded in that organisation, and we do work to facilitate the change. We're not like consultants who come in and tell people what they already know. We work with them from the ground up about what changes they want, and with 40 or 50 different partners, as well as the community as the leaders of that process. So definitely doing lots of facilitation, and I'm a member of the International Association of Facilitators. And so I put myself through that process to learn how to be a facilitator, having done it for years and years and years and years, and didn't even realise there was like a code of conduct and things like that, so how about that now. And so communication, and I also do collaboration impact, and for a whole lot of other organisations I do a lot of comms work, but mostly that takes shape for those of you who might be in Chooks. Yes, so is anyone in Chooks in the room? It's actually some Chooks, everybody's here. So Chooks SA is an online community on Facebook. It's a closed Facebook group designed to close the gender investment gap. So for women, we all know about the pay gap. So that will take 200 years to close if we do it at the rate we're currently doing it. I'll be long gone, so will everyone in this room. Not very excited about that. The gender investment gap, however, is much worse. So for female founders who are seeking venture capital, about 2% goes to female founders. So I'd like to turn that around. And so the Chooks SA Facebook group is got about 2,500 people in it, and it's an online community. So if you're interested in that issue and closing the gender investment gap, come join us. Okay, who's got the first group? Who's got 2 words? Has the warrior got the 2 words? Why not? Why not? Okay. Tell us your name.
Well, my name's Alan. How are you? All right, so we had a music therapist and mediator.
Music therapist and mediator. Oh, I like that. I can truly say I've never been a music therapist, but I have been a mediator. And I used to, hundreds of years ago, like last century, we used to have in this state a community housing authority. Is anyone in community housing? Do they live in a community housing, like association or housing co-op? Probably there is someone in here, you might not even know it. But there were always disputes, and I was on the panel to help solve disputes as a mediator. Didn't like it much because I always wanted to side with the people I agreed with, so I had to really manage my own behaviour and all of that. But I do think music is definitely my therapy. I think that we all need things for our self-care, and music is definitely that for me. I sing in a gospel choir down in Wollonga where I live, gospel groove, if we very rarely perform in public, but people look out for us. You never know, we might pop up at some event near you. But music, and doing music in groups that is instant, like we did today, is, I think, just the most fun thing to do. And hopefully you all feel a bit better too, having done it. So, yeah. So, I don't know that I'm a therapist, but I'm definitely musical.
I see you as that groovy auntie that's always invited to the wedding and gets up on the dance floor first, and then everyone says, yes, that's okay, I can do it.
Thank you. I will pass that on to my groovy nieces and nephews. And I can kind of let you know that that's Auntie Moira.
Yeah.
Okay, who's here on this table that's got 2 words?
I'm Clarissa.
Okay.
Jeanette, we had you down as leader and creator.
Oh, very good. Yes, definitely leader. So has anyone ever done the Enneagram, you know, or personality profiles like Myers-Briggs, all those kind of things? So if you ever do the Enneagram, so this is when I'm completely vulnerable and you know you can look it up and I'll just be complete mess afterwards, but I'm an 8 on the Enneagram. And 8s are generally leaders and control freaks at their worst. At their worst. At their very best in 8 age, I mean they're fully redeemed. They are like the benevolent queen or the benevolent king. So I'm going at that end. I'm a redeemed 8. But leadership is really not about having the role of being the CEO or the chief of staff, even though I've been fortunate to be in those roles. Particularly in collaboration impact where I work at the national level, we talk about everyone stepping into their own leadership, whatever that is. We are all leaders, and how do we lead in the spaces that we find ourselves? And that often means pushing ourselves to the edge of our discomfort. It doesn't mean that we are telling everyone what to do. And so the lady whose name I didn't get, who's running away there, Sandra. If any of you have seen a little video, and if you haven't, look it up on YouTube, it's really cool. And that's about being like a first follower. The Lone Nut is the name of the video. It's only about 2 or 3 minutes. So have some of you seen that? Yeah. And so the Lone Nut is the person who goes up on the dance floor, and this is at a music festival, it's not me or and they're dancing like crazy, and then people come and follow them. And they're the first followers, or in startup world we talk about that as the early adopters. And then if more people come, then more people come, then more people come. And essentially you modelled that when we were doing the singing. You know, there was the first person who stood up and you all did. And if we had it in slow motion, we could maybe see who those people were. Then there was the reluctant ones who were thinking, oh my God, she's going to call me out now if I'm going to sing down, so I better get up. We call those the laggers. So they're at the end of the spectrum. And what was the other word I've forgotten?
Creator.
Oh, creator. Well, I think we're all creative, but I think we do make things. So when what we did today, when we first started with the singing, was that we were making something together. And what we were making was, you know, beautiful noise. And it was beautiful. No, you sounded really good. I told you, you all passed audition. But one of the things I say, particularly in my facilitation work, is almost like 99.9% of the time I will start by asking everyone, what are we making together today? Because that is the creative element of the work. So it's not about what I bring, it's about what we make together. And that's a really vital piece of what it means, I think, to do the kind of jobs that I have done and the jobs and the way I like to be in the world. I don't think that I'm here for my own benefit. It's about how do I bring out the best gifts of others around me. How do I bring my best self to those moments, whatever those moments are? And I can tell you I've struggled sometimes with that because I would really like to be really horrible and nasty little bitch sometimes, you know. If he says that one more time, I might hit him, you know, like you do have that thought bubble. But what would my best self say? I have been going to go to the toilet to breathe deeply in those moments. And it is a challenge, it's a real challenge. Sometimes it's really hard. And when you're working in some of the situations I'm in, it's not an easy place to be. Working as for a minister, for the chief of staff, as a chief of staff, no one rings the minister's office and says, "Thank you, you've done a lovely job today." No one does that. You've got the opposition ready, to throw hurdles at you, and bombs as well, and then you've got people on the steps of Parliament House screaming at you, and your minister falling apart at the seams, and your staff overworked, and no one slept for 3 days, and that's not a time when your best self might be on show, but that's always the challenge, and that's the work. And so when I'm working with others and in teams that I'm leading as well, and in my own reflection on my own leadership, it is very much about how can I bring my best self to this moment. And I think that's true for whatever we're doing. And it's really easy to forget that because we get into a dance, if you like, of where it's a call and response like we had in that song, and we don't then sing our own tune in that. So we have to be authentic to ourselves, and that may mean sometimes we can't stand in that place. And I've certainly resigned from jobs that I felt I couldn't cope another minute with, and I felt that I was only adding to the problem. I wasn't bringing the problem to any kind of conclusion. And so, because I'm a social worker at heart, what social workers really are about helping people to change the circumstances they're in, either by helping people to make those changes for themselves or changing the system that they're a part of. And that's essentially what I have done my entire life, regardless of what who's been paying me or what does it say on my job description or on my business card. And so coming back to being at the beginning about being the conductor, it is for me all about, I could be busking or I can be, in charge of the symphony orchestra, but essentially you bring your whole self to everything you do. And if you can integrate that in a way that you're speaking that truth, then chances are you'll be able to do whatever it is you need to do in that space and bring your best self to it. So I did talk a little bit about, on a very short TED talk a few years ago, TEDx talk, about resigning from things that you can't hang on to anymore. So that's on TEDx Adelaide from 4 or 5 years ago, and maybe 6, 7 years ago. Time goes really fast. I turned 60 last year. It's like, I've got to hurry up, there's more things to do. So please feel free to reach out anytime, and thank you for being such a fabulous co-creators of this space together this afternoon.